Welcome to Plans Are Booked, a podcast for every reader. I'm Molly Geller.
I'm Stephanie Blackburn.
And I'm Caitlin Madison. Welcome to episode 106. We got through January. We did it. It's over. The groundhog saw a shadow or whatever it was that we didn't want him to do. So there's more winter. What are you going to do about it? It is what it is. I will say, if it's going to snow, it's going to snow, right? Like, we live in Massachusetts. It's fine. What I don't bank on is the weather being an alternating horror show of snow and feels like -8. That I didn't sign up for. And also, this is the first winter I have a dog and I can't catch a break. The summer was scorching. The winter has been bitterly cold. There was a full moon yesterday. He was a freaking nightmare. A nightmare. We went on 4 mini walks instead of 2 or 3 long ones because that's how long I could handle being outside. And probably that's how long he should be outside too. He sat at the bay window from 1 p.m. till 4:30 p.m. and barked at every single creature, human, car, every single thing that went by our house for 3.5 hours. And then I was like, is there a full moon today? Looked it up. Yep, there was. Weird. So my dog is really in tune with the moon. And basically every time there's a full moon, I'm just bracing for impact. He took apart one of my Lego things today while I was out of the shower, but I was blow drying my hair or something. And I came out and he was sitting pretty on the couch. And I saw all these mangled pieces of plastic on the floor. And I was like, are those Legos? I have a Lego setup that's a little library with a woman sitting in a chair. He just took the librarian out. He took her and the chair and chewed it up, and he left everything else intact on the table. I was like, this is weird. I was very glad when I came home today and it was 34 degrees and we could have a legit pre-dinner walk that I think was helpful for him because whoa.
It's been warmer in Jackson than it's been here.
Crazy.
I look at that every couple of days and I'm like, what the heck?
As if we didn't miss it there enough. They also have better weather.
Right. I know. I went with my friends Bree and Eliza to 2 new restaurants in the same night.
Do tell.
I was not mentally prepared for this, but they came up with the itinerary of these places that they wanted to try in Cambridge. And they were like, we're going to do apps and cocktails at one place at 5. And then we'll meander our way over to our other reservation that's at 8. And I was like, what in the... It was unbelievable. So we went to this place in Central called Darling, which is a dim sum cocktail bar. Loved the vibe, loved the food. The drinks were amazing. I will say there's a dish there that you guys both need to try. It's a daikon radish that has been mashed, I guess, so that it's in a cube form. And at first I was like, is that tofu? And I was like, we didn't order tofu. And it had this really delicious sauce on it. And when you cut into it, it was almost the consistency of a rice. So it was like an Asian arancini kind of, but it was made out of radish. And then it had a soy-based gingery sauce on it and all this stuff. It was delicious. And I was like, okay, well, if they go there, they need to try that. They also, Molly, have a special French toast flavored cocktail. We got it as our final. We had all had 2 drinks already, and so we were like, we're going to be so full, but we want to try this French toast thing. They offered to split it into 3 mini glasses for us, so the 3 of us could have it because they were they were like, this is very rich. You're right, and we were like, okay. So then we did that, and there were a bunch of other things that were vegetarian. I think you guys would have a very easy time eating there.
That restaurant is big on the influencer circuit. I've seen probably 50 videos.
That's probably how they knew then. That's probably, they had already been there and they were like, we have to take Caitlin because they know we've been to Wusong Road before and they know that I love that place. So they were like, oh, we got to take you to this place. So then the other place we went was on the Michelin Guide recommendation list, Urban Hearth, also in Cambridge on Mass Ave. Okay, food, excellent. Service, even better. Ambiance, cramped. It is so small. I felt like Chris Farley when he does the skit that's like fat guy in a tiny coat. People were bumping into me. There was a first or second date happening at the table next to us, and the girl definitely had drank too much and was wearing a dress and tried to shimmy in between our tables, which there was like 3 inches between our tables. And like she made it out and went to the bathroom, but then when she came back, she like fell into Brie.
No.
And like Brie was like, "Don't worry about it. It's no big deal." And I was like, "Oh my god, this is..." So like the food was really good, and like they're doing a great job, but seriously, they have one bathroom, which was a problem because there's nowhere for people to stand to wait to go to the bathroom. And then I just felt like the servers were like bumping into all the tables because I think they can sit like 30 people. So it was just like very cramped, and I'm not sure that I would go back unless they get a bigger space. But that being said, the food was very, very good, and our server was excellent. And so if you can, maybe if you're more petite, or maybe if that doesn't bother you and you're used to being in like, it felt like we were at communal tables that weren't communal tables, if you know what I mean. And it was like, I didn't really need to be in that other person's date. And like the guy
Meanwhile,
counterpart
I'm
of
like, I
that,
want to hear everything that they
the
said.
guy counterpart of that date was like, they brought something over and he was making a stink about how it wasn't what they ordered. And my friend Eliza was like, "It's the Brussels sprouts. Did you order the She was like, "Shut the fuck." It was like he was being so obnoxious that she was like, "I feel like we're at their meal and he is being a jerk to the server." And it was just, anyways, so Darling, amazing. Can't wait to go back. Urban Hearth, you've got it going on with the food and the service, but you need a new spot. That is just not. I don't know if they maybe need to take one or two tables out and seat less people, or I don't know what the solution is, but like it's been a long time since I've been in a restaurant and felt like I needed to like tuck my shoulders in kind of thing. That's my life. What have you guys been up to?
I am freshly returned from a trip to Durham, North Carolina to visit my family. I often spend all my time on these trips in my parents' house or in my sister's house. And this time I was able to hit one new restaurant, which was called Dino's Pizza. It was giving me such a sense memory to the OG Papagenos of our youth. It was like the red and white checked tablecloths, those glass lights that are like different colored. One's red and one looks
And
like
they're
it has
shaped like a
yes.
mushroom.
Yes, they're
Yes.
shaped like a mushroom.
Yep.
And it's one of those menus that has the mozzarella sticks, the garlic knots, like all those classic things. You can make the pizzas to have anything you want. They have salad, they have pasta, they have cannolis. It was just a delight. And what is hilarious, it snowed while I was there. They got about 3 inches. They closed the whole city down the day before, like before it even began. There were so few things open that my sister, my brother in law, and I took the kids to the public library because that was the only thing that was open. It was like the club. There were like so many people in there because there was nowhere else to go. And I looked at one of the librarians and I go, "Were you expecting this today?" She was like, "Absolutely not." It was just full. Adults, children, everybody just trying to do something before everything shut down. Then the 3 inches of snow fell. It was kind of overnight. The next morning, I wake up to this weird sound. I'm like, it doesn't sound like a plow. It doesn't sound like a snowblower. I peek open the blinds. There are two gentlemen who I'm guessing are landscapers for this apartment complex. They're using leaf blowers to move the snow
Yep.
off the
I've seen it.
sidewalk.
I've seen it. People, yeah, I've seen people be desperate.
So that
Just
was really an experience.
just one quick interjection about the library. I was at the library today and three different things happened, and I completely forgot to mention it until you just said the library was hopping. The library was hopping when I went today. I almost got mowed down by a Tesla walking into the library because the person wasn't paying attention. Was I in a crosswalk? Yes. Was it a parking lot? Also, yes. Was she going too fast? A third yes. That happened. I'm already fired up at this point, right? I get into the library, and the library is like my happy place. And I'm pissed at this point. I'm like, everyone in Wellesley needs to calm down. So I walk in. If you don't know the Wellesley Library, they have probably the best new book section out of any library I've ever been to, and I've been to a lot of libraries. When you walk in, it's immediately on your right, and they have 2 or 3 copies of like every hot book you can possibly imagine. This is a library that has a lot of money. This is why I like to go to this library. It's right near my work. There is a woman with platinum blonde hair sitting next to 2 backpacks on a chair on speakerphone in the library. She's like 10 feet from the door. I was this close to being like, ma'am, could you step outside and stop ruining this experience for literally every soul in this place? Okay, that's what I had to say about the library. I was so worked up. And I was like, where are all the librarians of my youth, the strict but fair old ladies that would have come over and been like, ma'am, could you maybe take that outside? Nowhere to be seen. I don't know where they were. I was waiting for this woman to be reprimanded. It would have turned my afternoon around, honestly. And nobody came. And I was like, well, I'm not going to be some jerk that like rats this lady out. So I just stared at her. Like I would look at a book in the news section and then I would like give her one of these, and then she didn't care. Obviously, she didn't care. She's an a-hole. Anyway, sorry to interrupt, Molly, but the library was not chill today, and it sounds like it wasn't chill when you went either.
Yeah, it was quite the place to be and be seen, which I didn't expect at all. And the librarians just let it ride. Like,
Well,
story hour was canceled, which a lot of the families didn't know because the library was open. So they thought if it's open, of course it's going to happen.
Right.
We
Well, why
turned toward
didn't
the
it
kids
happen?
section.
I mean, that would have controlled the chaos a little bit.
It would have. We turned towards the kids section. Every computer had a child at it. Every mini table had kids at it. There were also sections with puzzles and trucks and other toys. Just every single thing that could be touched was being used. The noise level was like that of a gymboree. Like it just was absolutely insane to
I
me.
can't believe you walked out of that without getting sick. Honestly,
I know.
that's like Germfest 2026 right there.
Between that, my grandma's nursing home, and 2 flights, it is a miracle that I seem fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. Great immune system on Molly. I'd be dead. I would be crawling to my PCP being like, please medicate me. I thought that being a teacher for like 11 years would like help me. It did not. It just, I don't know. I'm weak. I'm susceptible and I'm weak apparently. That's all I got. Steph, what's up?
I'm gonna have to really work to remember how this conversation went because this was over a week ago, I think. But this is a shout out to my coworker Derek, who I told this conversation would be retold on here, and he said, "Great." So Derek is someone who we mostly talk about like hockey or TV shows that are like our 2 big conversation topics.
I've met him. I did not know that you guys talked about hockey.
Oh, his
He was
dad
into
has
hockey.
his dad has season tickets to the Bees. So I'm always like, "Did you go to last night's game?" And we just talk about
Brand
it.
new information about Derek. Didn't know. Go ahead.
Meanwhile, I said, did Derek and his dad ever want to give their tickets to 2 girls who want to go to the boy aquarium?
Have you been to a Bruins game before, Molly?
Only once when I
Okay.
worked at Fidelity and they were a sponsor, and my team got to go one night and sit in the box, but I was 21 and did not appreciate it nearly enough.
Got it.
We were just working the other day and happened to cross each other's paths and paused for like a self-care moment. And he was like, "I got a question for you." Like, "Okay, go on." And he was like, "My theory is that heated rivalry could not have been made if it was about 2 female hockey players." And I was like, "Okay, my attention's peaked. Continue." And he was like, "Okay, well, when you watch it, being a straight woman, how do you feel?" And I was like, "Oh, I get hot and bothered." And he was like, "Really?" Which question to both of you guys. Did you get hot and bothered while you watched it, if you feel comfortable sharing with the class?
I changed my phone background to Ilya Rozanov. Yes.
No. Well,
Oh,
yeah, no. Like, the mechanics of it are interesting to me, and they're both like very good looking, but I would not like be into either of them in real life. And
see, but me
so
neither. But that's not what turns me on about it. I think
I don't know what would have had to happen for me to be turned on, but it didn't. That did not occur.
interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
so I think for me, because I was trying to explain this to him, I think for me the reason that it turns me on so much is that two men together are on an equal playing field. There are no power dynamics, at least not with them. With Scott and Kip, obviously, there were some power dynamics. But with the two of them, they are equal. And that is not something that, as a woman, unless sexuality was actually a choice and therefore I could choose to be a lesbian, which I 1,000% would do in a second, because why would I want to date men? If I didn't have to. But I will never get to experience that. So I think there was something inherently sexy about getting to like see that like made it even
So
more sexy to me.
to hop onto that, I totally
Yes.
get what you're getting at.
Mm-hmm.
I think what was appealing to me about the show was watching men be vulnerable.
Fair.
So, like the same way that we were talking about the pit and how it's competency porn, I like the vulnerability porn aspect of it. I'm like, okay, guys can be sensitive. Guys are freaking out about sending a text that says we didn't even kiss. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're overthinking it and they're trying to be like tough about it and pretend it's not a big deal and whatever. And I liked seeing that side of things.
But that didn't like get you all flustered.
No,
Oh,
no.
okay. So continuing with me being hot and bothered watching two beautiful men have sex, Derek was like, "Okay, well, see, the thing is, if it was no, the next question he asked me was, is it because I would want to insert myself into that situation?" And I said, "Absolutely not. Like, I just want to be like a voyeur of this situation. I love watching it, but I'm not daydreaming about like, how do I get myself in between these two men?" And he said the difference is if it was two female hockey players, straight men would watch the show and immediately be imagining themselves in a threesome with the two women.
Yes, that's correct. And I
So,
even had a thought. I was like, if anybody in Hollywood had half a brain, somebody would be coming up with a TV show that was about two very attractive blonde lesbian beach volleyball Olympians, and they would make that show because it would basically be like Baywatch, which we all know how popular that was, but it would be beach volleyball players. They're like 6 feet tall, they're stunning, like they are so athletic, they're so impressive, and men would freaking love that. And all the men that don't understand these women that want to watch like man on man, to them I say like, okay, I mean, I understand what Derek is saying. Like, definitely I think straight men would be, the fantasy would be like, well, I would be the third in that situation. And I don't know that a ton of women are having that perspective. I'm not imagining myself there. That's just not what I'm doing. I think that if you're like into threesomes, then you probably, as a woman or a man, I think you probably would insert yourself into the heated rivalry scenario. But maybe you're more like the Scott and Kip. I don't know. Maybe that's where you're imagining yourself. I have no idea. But I definitely think that there's money to be made if they created a show. But here's the thing. I don't, to Derek's point, I'm not sure that the show should be about two female hockey players. I think it would have to be like beach volleyball to get the straight guys. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think if you put two good looking women in like a bunch of hockey pads, it would really be like, it just,
well, I
we
think
have better imaginations, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
heated rivalry was sort of created up obviously because of Rachel Reed under the female gaze, but I don't think that there's like an equivalent because I don't think you can do that with two women because how would that be possible?
No, but it would be cool if you could somehow put like the wage gap into that, right? So like I'm thinking about Trinity Rodman. She just became the highest paid female soccer player in the world, right? I think her contract is like $2 million, which is nothing compared to men's professional soccer. Literally, it's like it's embarrassing. In the lesbian version of Heated Rivalry, I think that's maybe one of the angles that you could take. Jacob Tierney should call us. I have a lot of ideas. I think we could really go places. You know what I mean? Because he needs me, obviously. Like it's not going that well for him. So I'm available. I'm happy to come to Canada, twist my arm.
On that note, should we discuss today's
Yeah, this is a
topic?
perfect segue.
I think it's a really good segue because
have
we're not
to-
doing a book.
I have to admit something.
Oh,
Molly
no.
came over and we started setting up, and only as we were setting everything up did I realize I didn't do the homework. And this was
like the
idea.
easiest homework that we've had in months, and it was Steph's idea. Oh boy.
I've had too many things going on. So I just quickly grabbed some. But today we're going to talk about books that we wish would get made into TV or movies that have not yet. So if anyone important is listening, like Caitlin said, we have ideas.
We have tons of ideas. And I am gonna just put it out there that nothing that I picked is gonna be a movie. Everything I picked will be a TV show.
That's fine.
Because I think it's really hard to adapt a book successfully into a 90 to 120 minute film. I just don't. It's really hard to do that well. So that's my vote. Who wants to go first? Or are we going to go
we should
one
do
and
round
then a
robin.
round?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Still, who wants to go first?
I can start.
Okay.
Okay, so we talk about this book a lot on this pod. And I think part of the reason that I can't stop thinking about it is because the resilience just blows me away every time. So this is Tell Me Everything by Minka Kelly. And I would like this to be adapted not with her as herself. I would like someone else to play her both as a young child and as a teenager. And then if she would like to play herself present day, that's probably fine. But
I feel like
I
Madeline
think
Klein would be good for this, but continue.
I just feel her circumstances were so extreme, they almost felt that they couldn't be real. And I think that makes for an amazing on-screen story where you have to keep asking yourself, how is she going to get out of this? Is she going to be okay? Or if you're like me, you keep telling yourself, you know she's okay, you know she's okay, you know she's okay. But I think this is one of those stories that is so unbelievable that it would be something gripping. I think whoever would play her mother, that would be the juiciest of roles. And then being able to play some of the male figures that come into her life later on that provide some stability. We talked about this at the time when we reviewed the book, who we thought maybe some of those people could be. It would be almost like a closure moment for her to be able to have everything play out as this kind of final, you did it. You made it to the other side and you're able to talk about it and share it and have other people see their own strength in your story. And I think it would perform super well if she decided to let somebody do it.
Yeah. I think your point about the resilience, I think, does make it very appealing.
I'm also picturing the pole dancing class and like the music crescendo. I would be in tears watching it in the audience as this like full circle moment. Okay. We need to get this made.
So I have a runner up that I'm going to mention because I didn't know it had already been optioned. So then I couldn't use it as a choice. So Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, I really would like that to be made into a TV show. I say TV show because I want to see every angle of that romance. I want them to really dig into the friendships she makes at NASA. I want them to spend time showing how hard she had to work to get into NASA. It looks like it has been optioned for a movie already, so I had to take it out of my list because this is us pitching ideas. So the first one that I want to talk about is a book that I also have brought up over and over again, and it's We Are All Guilty Here by Karen Slaughter. I feel like it's really timely with the Epstein files being released right now.
I feel like it's been optioned. Didn't it get optioned? Did I make that up?
I couldn't find anything that said it had. So I don't know. But here's my slant on it. I really want the people that made Adolescence to write and produce a mini series in the same vein as that first season of Adolescence, which I know they're doing a second one. And I think that this could be a great, the girls that are forgotten, the girls that nobody really cares about because they got into too much mischief, the girls with the very conservative parents that thought they had them under their thumbs but really didn't. I just think that that would be really, really good. And we all know that Karen Slaughter has had a bunch of other pieces of her, and then the Will Trent series. Like, she's no stranger to this. And so I would really like to see that. And I think it would be great as 6 or 8 episodes. That would be my pitch. I think 6 or 8 episodes could really do it justice. I don't think it can be a movie because it is a book that has like a pretty significant time jump and people from the past that come into play. And in order to really flesh that out, I don't think you can do it in a movie. I mentioned to my brother, and his best friend was getting his teeth cleaned at the office today, and they both have read the book. And I said we were doing this episode and that this was one of the ones that I had picked, and they were like, the adolescent people would crush it. And I was like, I know. They were like, I would 100% watch that. And they're not people that are like, they don't get super excited about book to TV or book to movie. They're not those kind of people. So like for them to both kind of light up, like that would be sweet. I was like, okay, I made a good pick.
I also feel like even though normally I prefer to just binge something all at once, that would be a show that would be great to keep ending on a cliffhanger, like Sunday night after Sunday night after Sunday night.
Totally.
But I also think you'd need to like take a breather between episodes type thing because it's not light.
No, it's not. It's
Especially
definitely
not at the end.
Steph, you're
okay,
up.
Mine I've been mentioning. I think I've mentioned it multiple times on this podcast, so I kind of expect you guys to know what I'm going to be saying. This is Erin Morgenstern's The Night Circus. I've been waiting.
It's supposed to be something.
Where is it?
It got optioned, and I think it like literally they expire after a while.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling it expired. It is so funny that you said that book. I was at Barnes and Noble like 3 nights ago, and a girl had that book, and I was like, "That book is unbelievable," and I never see anybody picking it up. And she goes, "I saw it on Book Talk," and I was like,
if it comes back around, I'll be so happy.
It's coming back around, Steph.
It's from 2011. I just looked up. I didn't realize it was that old.
Yeah.
That book, I think it would need to be like a 8 or 9 episode show because it's going to need a big budget for all of the like magical realism circusy stuff, and also to do the characters justice and to like really pull us apart before bringing everything back together again. I just think it could be so beautiful if done well. And I think it would appeal to like a lot of different people, like it would cover a pretty big fan base. I'm going to be really excited if this blows up again on Book Talk for her.
I'm so glad that this came up because I meant to tell you this. And in addition to that, I meant to look it up on TikTok to see what circles are bringing it back, like how it's coming back and who said it and what's happening. And I mean, that book is like the perfect storm of like The Greatest Showman and The Magicians. That's like what it is as a combo.
But it also has like a little bit of like a historical fiction aspect to it, like an old timiness to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
such an unusual book. Really good.
I don't have any thoughts on who could be cast, but it would destroy me in the best possible way.
That book was so beautiful. I feel like other than Harry Potter, that book gave me the best visuals of like the time and the place and how things were just like coming out of thin air. And oh man, it's so good. All right, Molly, what's your next one?
Okay, dream number 2. I brought physically the book with me. This is
Oh.
On the Plus Side by Jenny Elhow. Jenny's a local author here in Massachusetts. Steph and I got to meet her at a event at Belmont Books. On the Plus Side is about a woman named Everly who is cast as the first plus size bachelorette. She falls for, it's a grumpy sunshine. She falls for the grumpy lumberjack-esque cameraman on the show who can see all the ways that she's getting upset or doubting herself. And they form this really adorable and unlikely relationship where he's supposed to be helping to produce the show in which, she's purposefully not always in the easiest situations because that makes for good TV. And he sees her and values her and makes her regain her confidence. Jenny had art done for this book tour, including a postcard of the two of them. That is like, I feel like I'm blushing just thinking about it right now. It's hard to unsee that image of that artwork. And I've always wanted for it to come to life. There was a show that unfortunately didn't go on for a long time called Unreal, which was about like the dark side of producing The Bachelor slash Bachelorette.
I
I
liked that
love
show.
Me too. Francois Arnault was on that show, by the way.
Wait, I don't remember what was his character.
He's one of the editors. He like sits in the edit bay.
He's
I
been
don't even
everywhere.
remember.
He
Oh,
was in
yes.
Yellow. He was also in Yellow Jackets.
So I think it'd be cool if that were the vibe, right? Like the behind the scenes, how the show is made, and then they have this like not allowed or encouraged tryst on the side. I also just always root for a plus size protagonist. They are so rare, especially on screen, and I would love to see it.
Wait, I just had like a flashback. What was the show you and I used to love? Plus size actress, and she would break out in song.
Drop Dead Diva.
Oh, I think I need to rewatch that. That was such a good show.
It was such a good show, and the fashion was unbelievable.
I don't know that one.
It's great. It's one of the women who's on Steel Magnolias on Netflix.
Oh, okay. Okay, so this one is not going to be. All right, I'm like cheating a little bit because doing 2 was really hard for me. So I would. This is not my pick. This is another like runner up. So this is a runner up because I don't think anybody would do it well. So I'd rather it just not get done. So Eleanor and Park, I would really love for that to be done. And I don't think that anybody would do it right. So I'd rather they just leave it alone. So that's a runner up for me.
Not
But I
even
would
like
love
not,
it.
not even like the Heartstopper people.
It would need to be indie. They would need to cast no-name people. It would need a low budget, and it would just need to feel the like grounded grittiness of the book and not try to be flashy.
Yeah. I just
What's her name who did Ladybird?
Oh yeah. She's doing Wuthering Heights.
No.
No, not
Emerald
who did
Fennell.
Lady oh my god.
She's married to Noah Baumbach. Her name is.
I know she did Barbie. What the hell's her name? Wow, this is
so sad.
terrible. Oh my lord. Okay, well while we're thinking about that, that's my runner up because I just don't think it would be done correctly. Greta Gerwig. And so here's my real pick. And this is you're both going to be like, of course she picked this. Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter.
I wish I had thought of that.
I want this to be a collaboration where Jenny Han and Lynn Painter get together to write the screenplay, and then I want Jenny Han's production company, which I believe is called Jenny Kissed Me, to produce it. I want it to get the full treatment. I want it to get every Taylor Swift song that Lynn Painter wants. This is a book, if you haven't read it, it's fake dating, it's high school, it's boy next door, it's all the things that Jenny is so good at. And then it's got Lynn's banter, and oh my gosh, it's so good. And I feel like it would be such a great movie. And there's obviously such a market for this right now. I mean, how many times over the summer did we say it's what Susanna would want? Like that was like a catchphrase. And like They were asking, like, when like the preseason started for the NFL and the NBA, they were like asking players in the locker room, like, are you team Jeremiah or team Conrad? It was a cultural phenomenon. I think Lynn Painter's books should get this treatment, and I think that that's the first one that they should do. And I think that it would crush, and I think that Jenny Han knows how to do it. And I do think that that could be a movie. I also think that whoever John Green got to adapt his books into movies, I would also accept that person to touch the Lynn Painter books. Those are my two. Other
You
than
know
that,
what?
go home.
It's funny that you should say that. I almost picked Fake Skating
It
because
would be great.
I think it's one of those classic high school stories that no matter how old you are, you just get taken back to that time of life.
I gave it to Eliza and Bree over the weekend when I met them to do our like double dinner. And I was like, this is what I wanted high school to be for me. Like, I wanted to be this girl that was like applying to Ivy League schools and like fake dating with the cutest guy at school. Then it becomes real dating. And like, my grandfather's an NHL baddie and like, whatever. Like, that would have been real great for Caitlin, because guess who went to every boys hockey game in high school? Caitlin. Yeah. So, yeah, this is like a well established. You can ask my mother about it. The rink, like, this was before I could even drive myself. So, my mom used to have to like drive me to these games that were not near our house. And yeah, it was a whole thing. It was a whole thing. There's actually a boy that Steph and I at each of our high schools might have seen him play, which I just thought about. We can talk
I
about who
think
it
he
was
was on
later.
JV though. He wasn't on
Oh, really?
varsity.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
That's because like we recruited from like Canada for our high school team.
Right.
So
No, ours was, do you live here? Um, we were still decent. We weren't like amazing or anything, but I was entertained. And then when I started bringing friends, they were like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Yeah, this is you're gonna like this," and because like they didn't get it. There's something about boys doing something graceful like ice skating and then getting like really worked up and beating the crap out of each other. It makes us feral. I don't know what it is, but it's if you guys didn't see the video of the two goalies getting in a fight the other night, it was special and you should look it up. It's on every sports highlight reel imaginable right now.
I did see it.
are we
So
talking about Swayman last night or are we talking about the one last week where there were two goalies that got in a fight?
I think it's from last week because it just went on my radar like 2 days ago. So
There's already a new
my bad.
new fight video.
Steph, what's your second pick?
Ghosts of Harvard by Francesca Saratella.
I didn't.
I
read this
apologize
one,
if
but I
I.
remember you telling me
Yeah,
about it.
I think obviously mine are both like dark books. This one is about a girl who goes to Harvard because her older brother went there and died while he was there. And she wants to figure out what the heck happened. And it is a story of like, dealing with loss and grief and also mental health issues and the pressure of going to an Ivy League school or just going to college in general, but especially going to an Ivy League school and all that entails. And it's a beautiful book. It's not light material. So I think maybe it would be a movie as opposed to a TV show, although there's so much more that could be brought into it if it was a TV show.
It's giving like Dead Poet Society vibes the way that you're describing it.
The way, did I talk about this? When did I read this?
I can't
Was it before
remember.
we started the pod? I can't remember how long ago I read this.
It might have been.
It gives off vibes of like a fantastical element for a little bit until you start to like kind of figure out what's going on. So it's sort of like she's not sure if her brother was mentally ill or if there was something else going on because, like there's a history with how old Harvard is. Could there be ghosts? As someone who has dealt with ghosts, yes, I'm sure there could be ghosts. I just think that it could be a bigger conversation about mental health and the pressures at 18 of moving away from home and dealing with really heavy things at school, if it was done really well, I think it could be like a really beautiful conversation starter, you know?
I would watch it on a rainy day. I would sign up for that. But
Yeah, especially.
but you're probably right, not as a TV show, I don't think. I don't think I would sign up for that. I loved these picks. No, I feel like it was like a really good variety. And I just want to say, like, it wasn't a diss to the other books that I suggested get adapted, that like I don't think that Eleanor and Park can be done well, but I just really don't think it can. It's too
It would hurt us if it was like badly adapted, poorly adapted.
Yes, I just keep thinking about the HBO version of Beartown that they put together, which was like one of the most
I don't think,
horrific adaptations I've ever seen.
but I
And
don't think it was HBO. I think HBO bought it
they
after it was
bought it.
done
Yeah, yeah.
in Sweden.
However that shook out, horrible. So bad. Like, to the point where I'm like, did the person even like read the whole book? Because it was that bad. So anyways, if that happened to Eleanor and Park, it would be really upsetting, and I just don't want that to
Wait,
happen.
an amendment, because I feel like enough time has passed. If Canada, anyone that's Canadian that's listening, Jacob Tierney, if they could redo Beartown and this time give it 10 episodes and actually handle the backstories properly, please.
Amat was my favorite character in that book, and he got like 3 minutes of screen time, and it was mainly like him witnessing something horrifying.
Well, and
And
Benji's my favorite character, and he didn't get enough time.
And like, it was like, they didn't do anything to make us care about the characters before the bad stuff happened. It was really bad. My whole family has read Beartown, which there's very few books that's true. And collectively, we all didn't even finish it. We were like, this is so bad. So anyways, what's everyone reading right now?
Prompt number 2.
Oh, here we go.
I'm making my way through, listeners. I'm on book number 5 of the Game Changer series. This is Role Model. This is particularly fun for me because this is about Troy Barrett, who joins the Ottawa team with Ilya. So we get way more Ilya, and he's such a menace, and it's so fun.
He's so funny in it.
I laughed out loud, which I haven't necessarily done with these books because they're more like heartwarming than hilarious. But the premise of this is that Troy falls for the team's social media manager, which is just
I think this is
I love.
I haven't finished, so I haven't read book 6 yet, but so far, Heated Rivalry is my favorite, and that one's my second favorite. It's probably going to become my third favorite after I read book 6, but you know,
I have 70 pages left. I plan to finish it tonight. I cannot
social
wait.
media manager also grew up on an apple farm, and his family has like, they make their own hard cider, and he brings it to like all the hockey parties. It's just like, so I was like, I want to be friends with all of them. They seem like the most fun team in the league by far.
They also have a team like therapy dog, which is an adorable addition. He's pictured on the cover. So cute. And there's just so many elements of this that are adorable in real life.
It takes place at the same time as book 6. So like that happens again, basically, in book 6.
That is delightful information to know. I'm thrilled.
Yes, I'm looking forward to these same moments from Ilya's perspective. I'm sure some of that's going to happen. There's a particular scene around Christmas time where they're wearing Christmas sweaters and doing a photo shoot with the puppy. There's just, and also actually, we are going to talk about the back 3 books, but I just want to read one tiny thing. Sorry, let me get my hand in here. Everyone knows I read the acknowledgments always, and sometimes I start there. In this case, I did not start there, but I read it like halfway through. Rachel Reed says at the very end, "This book was written entirely in 2020 during the pandemic, and I'm enormously grateful to my husband and kids for giving me time and space to write, even when we're all trapped together. Also to my parents and in-laws for taking the kids off our hands from time to time, which made it even easier to write sex scenes."
I have to say, I finished Heart the Lover last night, and I can't stop thinking about it, and I loved it, and Molly and I are going to do an episode about it. No acknowledgments in that book.
I know.
I can't remember the last time I read a book that didn't have acknowledgments, and I thought it was really bizarre. Yeah. I was like a little taken aback. I'm like, you don't have anybody to thank? I hope she's not a jerk. You know what I mean? It felt a little sus that we didn't have anybody to thank. I don't know. I am reading the opposite of a heartwarming book. This is what I'm reading right now. Maggie or a man and a woman walk into a bar. Within the first 10 pages of this book, a woman and her husband, who they have 2 children together, the husband is white and the wife is Asian, they go to an all-you-can-eat Indian buffet, and he announces that he is having an affair. And that's really all you need to know. I mean, it's her going through it. It's a little, she is bitter. She is laughing at inappropriate times. She already had some like jealousy issues over the relationship that her husband has with her kids versus her relationship with them. Like, she's very hung up on how funny they think he is and how they don't think she's funny anymore. She's very hung up on it being a white woman that he's having an affair with. I'm enjoying it, but I am also going to preface that by saying that I'm very glad it's not a 350-page book, because I think if it was longer, I would have a hard time finishing it, just because sometimes reading about women that are going through really hard times is kind of tough. So that's what I'm reading right now. But it's very well written, and I'm intrigued.
I feel like you've been on a good roll with like dramatic books lately.
Yep. Yep.
You know?
So far so good.
Listeners, if you want to
Oh no,
I haven't said
no.
mine.
Oh my God. Forgive me.
Molly was just ready to wrap it up.
No. I don't think I've ever done that.
No.
It's first time for everything.
106 times. The 106th got her.
The wheels fell off tonight.
I am reading Charmaine Wilkerson's Good Dirt, and I have to admit, last night lying in bed, I looked at the cover and I was like, oh, wait. I didn't realize that it's a jar. I just saw the face. This is like one of those, like the art things where it's like, what's the first thing you see? I saw the face. I did not see the jar whatsoever. Okay, so Good Dirt is a story in like many parts, but back in, I believe, 1999, Abby and her brother Baz, she's 9, he's 14. Intruders come into the house and shoot him, and he dies. Then in 2018, I believe, she is now in her 20s. Am I doing the math on that correctly?
Probably not. But it's okay. Keep going.
In present day, anyways, she's engaged to a white man on her. This is not giving anything away because this is like within the first 15 pages. She's on her wedding day and she gets stood up at the altar. And she has grown up in Connecticut in this small town. She went to school nearby, and then she moved to the next town, and everyone knows these 2 horrible things that happened to her in her life, and she can't sort of escape the like quiet but poignant looks from everybody. So she decides she's going to go to this tiny town in France where one of her friends has like a little like stone cottage, and she's just sort of going to like reinvent herself and try to figure her life out and garden and just reconnect with who she wants to be. And her friend takes off for a bit and is like, I have like renters, because there's a tiny little cottage out back. I have renters lined up. If you could just like welcome them when they come, show them around. And the first couple that comes to stay is her ex-fiance and his new Instagram blonde girlfriend. And then we flash back to Africa and her ancestor, who was rounded up with family members and put on ships and shipped west to America. So we are going to learn how all of that is connected, because her ancestor was like a clay maker. And the day that her brother was shot, he was holding this pot, the one that's on the cover that I did not see when I picked up the book. And so it's beautifully written. Unfortunately, the font is so tiny that I thought this was going to be a quick read, and it's not, because you really have to pay attention to the tiny details, but there is so much happening within each time period that I'm just so sucked in. I'm really worried where this is going and that I'm going to be like a bawling mess by the end of it. Maybe I won't be. Who knows? It's me. I will be a bawling mess.
If those 3 events happened to me, I'd be gone. You wouldn't see me ever again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where I'd go. Maybe just the ocean.
Well, there
but
was this. Yeah.
that's too many things. That
What's
is
interesting
way too many things.
is there is this chapter that I read last night about how Ebby, but also women such as myself, we change our hair when we go through a traumatic thing. And it's talking about how, she was photographed the day her brother died. She was a 9-year-old child, and there was a photo taken, and she became famous for that photo. And so, through time, media has sort of been like, check up on like, what is Ebby up to? And her hair has changed as things happen in her life. And I was just thinking about myself and how many times I've changed my hair because of things. So it's beautifully written, it's relatable, even though I've never had those things happen to me. And I'm interested to see where we go. So maybe if it's good enough, we'll do an episode on it.
I also just can't hear the word cottage without hearing Ilya's voice. So you said that and then I got distracted. Listeners, if you want to follow along with all the books that we mentioned today and get to reading them in case our dreams come true and these make their way to the screen, join us on Instagram. We are at Plans Are Booked. That's where we share all of the books that we mention in every episode. You can also write to us, plansarebbooked@gmail.com. If you liked what you heard today, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Would be very grateful. It really helps people find the show.
And until next time, our plans are booked.